What's up, people of YouTube? This is here bringing you guys another video to my channel, and today we are doing the review of the Scuf Vantage that I unboxed recently, and I've gotten a decent amount of playtime with this. I've gotten to experience pretty much everything that this controller has to offer, and I want to give you guys my opinion of it and let you guys know if I think this controller is worth changing out from what you may have previously been using. So if you guys haven't known, in the past I've owned several Scuf. I want to say this is probably my 5th Scuf controller. And I'm just going to be straight up and honest, this is probably the most dissatisfied I've been with a Scuf controller product ever. Now that is going to sound much worse than what I actually mean it to be. This controller isn't bad by any means. It's got a lot of perks, it's got a lot of positives, but in comparison to the controller that they most recently had, I feel like this controller has the least amount of reasons to want it over the previous controllers that have come before it. The Scuf Impact is a very good controller. I think it's a very quality controller. The only real difference between that controller and this one that I prefer is the grip. The grip on this controller is fantastic. It's very textured. It feels great. I don't know if I can get a good shot on that. It's probably not going to focus in time, but the grip on this controller is great, and honestly, that's probably the only thing about this controller that really stands out amongst the others. Now, obviously, if you guys clicked on this video and you're interested in the Scuf Vantage, you already know the joysticks are different. This doesn't really bother me that much. It's hard to get used to because I've been using a standard PS4 layout for so long, so sometimes my hand will start to cramp up using it this way just because I'm not completely used to it. I do miss that on the Scuf Impact, the touchpad curved over the top, so you could kind of reach over and hit it with this finger instead of having to take your thumb off of the joystick. That is kind of a bummer to me. Not real happy about that. I do like the fact that you can just pop these off, and it's real easy, and obviously this pops off, but these pop off real easy. You can change out your rumbles, remove them from the controller if that's what you like. I personally like having rumbles, so I leave mine in there. This goes back on as easy as you took it off. This goes back onto the controller very smoothly. So all of that in terms of the quality of the controller, the way it feels, is fantastic. Now let's talk about these side buttons. How useful are these side buttons? What games do I play primarily? If you watch my channel, you know I play a lot of Call of Duty. You know that I definitely like Fortnite. I've been getting into Apex Legends. So first-person shooters, you know, your typical run-of-the-mill shooters, that's what I play the most, that I try the hardest at, the main purpose of this controller. I never need these side buttons. Honestly, these side buttons get in my way more than they help me. And I need to change it because it's my own fault, but I have this set in Fortnite, this button right here. For whatever reason, it brings up my map. I've died so many times in Fortnite because of this, because I don't mean to push it, and that is a huge problem for me. I do not like that about the controller at all. As far as this touchpad right here, I don't ever use this because I have a mix amp, so I don't really have a need to use this on the controller, so that's not a big deal. I like how easily they have made it to assign your buttons to the paddles and stuff instead of using the magnet key. I think that makes things a lot better and a lot easier to use. Very happy about that change. This is a nice feature. I don't really find myself using it that often. I pretty much always play USB only, but this is a nice feature. It's as nice as this is. It's don't really have much to say, but it's definitely a nice addition. The paddles themselves, nothing's really changed. They do the typical paddle stuff. They clickety-clack, and then they do the movement. The port for this in specific, covering all of the things that I can here. The port for this in specific is very nice. It grips onto the cord better than the previous ones did, in my opinion, and I like how it's upside down. It looks like it puts less stress on the connectors themselves, although I will say I run into a lot of problems where the controller will disconnect from me moving the cord, and I don't think that's so much a Scuf problem as it is a USB problem because micro USB cables are trash, but I'll just move the cord, it'll disconnect the controller, and I'll have to literally sit there, and I think this does fall more so on Scuf. I literally will have to sit there and hold this in here and keep pushing this button for 10 seconds, 15 seconds for it to come back on. You know, I can't just readjust, push the button and it turn on. It's like it's sensitive. It doesn't want to turn back on. That's a huge negative to me. Don't like that part of the controller, and that kind of upsets me sometimes. It hasn't got me killed yet, but it is irritating. Now, I didn't cover a whole lot of positives with this controller like I had mentioned at the beginning of the video. There isn't a whole lot of reason to have this controller over previous Scuf controllers. Like I had said, these additions down here are nice. The removability and easy access to things is nice. If you prefer the Xbox layout, that is nice. But aside from that, the grip is really, really nice. But aside from that, there's not a whole lot of difference between this and the other controllers. But let's get into the really big negatives that I have with this controller. What really makes me not like it at all. First thing I'm going to talk about are the trigger stops. The trigger stops are too loose. I can just turn it super, super easy with my thumb, just like that. And that might sound great, but the problem is I'll be playing Call of Duty or whatever, and then this trigger stop will turn, and then it just throws me off and I have to go and turn it back. Absolutely hate that. I'm probably going to find some way to rig that to where it will just always stay in place unless I really want it moved. And that goes for both sides. The sensitivity issue where you put the Scuf key in here and you adjust it, when I got this controller, the right-sided one was stripped right off the bat. I was able to tighten it a little bit, but when I tightened it, I couldn't get it untightened. And when I did tighten it, I didn't realize it was too tight. So it worked in Call of Duty, but when I went into Fortnite or any other game, it would just always push this button. Like it would bring up menus, it would shoot guns in Fortnite when I needed to not be shooting guns. Got me killed a couple times. I finally did get this to come out, but I will never touch it again because, like I said, it's stripped right off the get-go from buying the controller, which I did get this controller from GameStop. It was not a controller ordered from Scuf. So that was a huge negative to me. Then another negative that I have with this controller is occasionally, I think it's only happened 3 times since I've had the controller. I've had the controller for about a month, I want to say, or close to a month. Occasionally, my controller will just lose all control. I have no control over the controller at all. I will run into a wall and I will keep running. I will start shooting, or I'll spin in a circle or whatever, and the only way that I can get that to reset is to unplug the controller, turn it off, plug everything back in. Like I said, takes a while, and turn it back on. That is the biggest complaint that I have with this Scuf Vantage controller. Now, to the people out there who are looking to buy a Scuf for the first time, there's 2 situations that I can put you in. If you're wanting to buy a Scuf for the first time, if you absolutely prefer a Xbox layout and you love Xbox and that's what you want to go with, I'd recommend buying this. It's the only one that you're going to get for PS4 that's an Xbox layout. This is the one to go with. If you are used to using PS4 controllers, the PS4 layout does not bother you, I recommend the Scuf Impact. The Scuf Impact is a much better controller overall, in my opinion. Here is my Scuf Impact that I had for so long. This controller is a better controller overall, in my opinion. If this had the ability to switch out the covers as easily, had the magnetic switch down here and the USB switch here, and it had the grip, I would be using this controller over this one any day of the week. Also, if you are really wanting the most possible options when it comes to button layouts, these side buttons can be nice if that's what you want. Like I said, I don't find myself really using them. They get in the way more than they help. So if that's something that you want, go ahead, shoot for it, get it. That's probably going to be your cup of tea. If you currently have one of these controllers for PS4 and it is working perfectly fine, do not, and I repeat this, do not upgrade to a Scuf Vantage. I do not think that it's worth it. I don't think it's necessary. I think that you are spending way more money than you need to have access to better grip on the back and the easier ability to switch from USB to Bluetooth and the magnetic options. Honestly, that's what it boils down to. Like I said, these buttons aren't really that useful to me. I don't think you should do it, honestly. If your controller is working fine, even if your controller is not working fine, story as to why I actually own this controller is because this one started to go out on me. I had it for about a year and a half, I want to say, and this joystick messed up on me. Scuf said I'd have to send it in, they'd repair it. I figured I might as well buy a new one. Horrible mistake. Should have just bought another one of these, if I'm being completely honest. Would have been less expensive and it's more useful overall. So out of 10, how would I rate this controller out the box with my experience? A 6 out of 10. Solid 6 out of 10. This is better than a standard PS4 controller. I would use this any day of the week over a standard PS4 controller, but no, it is not worth the money that I spent on it. In hindsight, after using it and experiencing it, I will take that blow for you guys, even though I couldn't afford it. I will take that blow for you. Don't buy this one if it's your first Scuf and you're not purely buying it for an Xbox layout. It's just simply not worth it. Now, giving this a little bit of a review of using the Impact, which I actually did a review and an unboxing of this on my channel when I got it. This controller, I would give it, honestly, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, it was the only negative I really have about this controller is the fact that it broke easier than I feel like it should have. But aside from that, I think this was a great controller. And like I said, it wraps around on the front. I like that. These are stiff keys. They don't, they don't just fall on me. These weren't stripped from the get-go. It's nice. I enjoy it. And I was used to the PlayStation 4 layout. So once again, it all comes down to personal preference. I did enjoy the Scuf Impact. Definitely preferred it. Scuf Vantage isn't horrible, but I do kind of regret this purchase. I want to know your guys' opinion down in the comment section if you currently own one of these or if you're looking to get one of these. Any questions that you might have, go ahead and leave it down there. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'm on my way to 1,000 subs, road to 1K. Once I hit that, my hair is getting dyed some crazy color. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and deuces.